Greetings, my wonderful jelly spoons. Don't look at this. This is a future Monday Madness project. So, as always, I've had a dumb idea, and I'm running with it. Originally, I was thinking, oh, this can be something I'll do in a future episode of Monday Madness, because I haven't got the stuff to do this right now. Look, here's my Finding Neverland Peter Pan. Nearly finished. Very nearly finished. Very exciting. Unfortunately, I've had to pause making my Finding Neverland Peter Pan because I do not have a... I don't know what the official technical term is because I am not a professional cosplayer yet. When you're attaching grommets and rivets and things, when you use a hammer and you smush them in together. So I don't have one small enough to do the rivets that I'm using for this, so I've had to order a new one that will arrive soon. Thank you to my Patreons for helping me to get that. In the meantime, I've been looking at all of my fabric boxes, and I have discovered that I do have the fabric to make the thing that I wanted to make. So I'm gonna make Gollum from the Lord of the Rings musical. So, I have found this, which is an old, like, shrug bolero thing that I had from a charity shop because I thought it's just a big piece of fabric. Like, it's too big for me, it will do really nicely. So I've tried it on, and I've pinned it because the neck thing will fit really nicely and cover all of this, so I'll have to cover it in paint. Marvellous. And then I've cut the sleeves off because unfortunately they were black, but that doesn't mean I'm going to have more arm movement because I'm going to be adding different things to the arms. Anyway, the back is one of these dangly pieces. So it's got loads and loads of spare fabric. So I thought, rather than cutting it off, I'm going to make it into like a spine shape. So I am just really loosely base stitching it so that I can pull them out and use this fabric again. I don't want to cut it too much because it is a really quick cosplay. I just want to, you know, I'm experimenting with my filmmaking and editing with this basically. But what I'm thinking is I'm going to base stitch it. See, I've got a tiny little stitch there, tiny little stitch there. And I'm going to base stitch it so that it's going to make, essentially, when I pop them together, I'm either going to use a little safety pins or I'm thinking I'm going to use poppers. Anyway, easy things that can be taken back out again. So eventually it's going to look a little bit like that. So when I have the darkness and everything on it, it'll look a little bit like a spine going down his back. Here are some basic sketches. I, of course, have the soundtrack because this musical is wonderful. So this is a wonderful picture of Gollum, and here is another one. I have a sword, so I could recreate that. I have my LARP sword, which is curved a bit like that. Anyway, you can see all the cool bits. Now, this guy obviously is covered in loads of body paint. I do not have that much body paint and someone to spray my back, so I'm going to make it as a piece of clothing as opposed to all out of, you know, body paint and stuff. But look at all these wonderful tassels and all these things and all these wonderful bits hanging off of his belt. And, oh, gone too far, that's Galadriel. All right, so this is the picture I'm currently working off. So I'm going to do vines and creepy things. I'm thinking I'm going to make it go down to his heart. So sort of like, I know the heart is actually in the center of your chest, but I'm going to do it slightly off so that everyone can see that it's the heart. And I'm going to have all these veins and stuff coming up. And then I'm going to do down his arms as well. And this bit in the middle, I'm going to make so... This top piece, I'm going to do some papier-mâché ribs and then somehow stick them to it or put them underneath it, I'm not sure. But when we get to here, just under the ribs, I'm going to put a different piece of fabric that's going to cinch it all in together, and then I'm going to do the bit for the bottom. So, yeah. So, I have stitched up back, and now I'm going to draw on where all the ribs go. So, I'm working off predominantly this image right now, and I'm thinking there's going to be spiny bits down the middle, and then they're going to go off to the side. I am, of course, using hot glue for this. It is my want. That is what I shall be doing. And this is what we have so far. I edited what I was planning to do a little bit. Originally, I was going to cover the whole thing in hot glue and make each of the rib pieces stick out and then have these bits be the inset in shadow. But because he's so creepy and skeletal, I think it makes more sense to have the bones stick out in this version. So I've also... Basically, I don't have any paint. I'm trying to make this without buying anything. So I have used this gunmetal metallic spray, which I used for my Ashton hammer and I used for my Laceland staff. I've also found some boot polish that I've been using. I used the very last of this fabric stuff that I used on my Kingsley, and some of this, which I used for my Molly horns, which is a dark purple. So I've put some sort of purple bits around the edges to add into the shading, and there's some dark purple down the bottom. This bit is going to get covered by other fabrics, so it doesn't matter too much, but I wanted it to be much darker at the bottom. So yeah, he's got the rib pieces there, and at the back I'm not planning to have my back to the camera much, but in case I sort of turn sideways and you can see it, this is the sort of scrumply looking spine. And I'm also going to do some shading so that you can see some of the ribs coming around the back as well. But again, I'm not planning to turn my back to the camera, so you really shouldn't see this too much. So what I'm doing now is I'm making some gross looking moss that I'm going to stick in various different places over Gollum. So to make this, what I'm doing, because again, I'm trying not to buy things, so I'm not buying anything. I've got a bunch of embroidery fabric, which I'm using for my Molly coat, but I don't need too much of the browns and the greens for it, and also I've got so much. So I've taken this sort of like grey looking green, this darker green, and this icky brown. It's a lovely colour, but for the sake of this video, I'm calling it icky brown. And I'm chopping them into pieces, and then when I've got the pieces, I'm just rolling them up a bit so that they come unfluffed. That's a technical term, that, unfluffed. And then I'm mixing them all together to make this sort of gross looking old mouldy moss. And then I'm going to use hot glue to stick it on in various places, like I did with my Peter Pan cosplay, only that was happy moss. This is sad moss. And there's the dog. Hey buddy! I love you. And here he is with a little bit of moss. I didn't want too much, but I've done a decent chunk, and I'm going to put some on the arms as well, so I need to save some of the moss. I can always make more, but I've got a decent chunk left. Done some up the middle, some down the side, some across this shoulder and things, so I am liking it thus far. I completely forgot to film while I finished this outfit. I am very sorry. I'm currently working on the arms, so here are the picture of the project as it stands right now. I found an old scarf made out of dark fabric, so I used that to go under the ribs so the ribs stand out more. I sprayed it a little bit with the purple and the silver just so it wasn't stark black and it could fade into the rest of the body. And I've been ripping up strips of fabric to use as a sort of bottom half as well, which I've attached to some elastic. Now I'm going to finish making the sleevey bits and film. And here we have the setup to film. Sadly, I don't have many of these vine things, but hopefully through some angle trickery we can make up for the fact that I don't have many. I've put one quite low down so that when I do some floor bits, and I haven't put the black flooring down yet because I'm going to film all the standy-uppy bits first. I say standy-uppy as if Gollum stands up, you know, the sort of like half crouchy stuff that he does. So then I'll put the floor bit down when you can actually see it. I've got the sword as well, which I'm going to use to do some sting. This is my LARP sword. This is going to have to do as sting. The only other sword that I've got is the one that I use for the Soldier Poet King, and that one is definitely not a sting sword, so yeah. This is what we have so far. I made the executive decision that I'm going to use the tights for the legs instead, because the stuff that I was going to use just wasn't quite working right, so instead I'm going to use the tights for the bottom half, and I'm going to paint my arms, because it's easier to paint my arms than my legs. So, yeah. Alright, I've turned the heating on, so that when I get into freezing cold body paint, it won't be quite so bad. I'm thinking I'm going to get into the body paint first, and then zip myself into this, and then add all the extra bits and flourishes and pieces. Alright, let's go do. Well, here we are, filming in Gollum. I have got some cool leg bits on, hang on. Can't really see them. So I've got the evil side and the slightly good side. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. Feel pretty cool. Feel like it looks aesthetically quite interesting. So, yeah, I'm going to film some stuff. Precious. I did have a One Ring as well. I had a like mini version of the One Ring, and I cannot find it. Thankfully, Gollum does not get the ring in this song, so I don't need to, you know, have a ring. However, it would be nice to find at some point, but I will get back to you in a moment. This is the full ensemble. I will, hang on, if I move it around, I can show you the full ensemble. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, and there we go. Ooh, I'm attached. There we go. The entire Gollum. I have a newfound respect for everyone who cosplays Caleb, because my god, these bandages were difficult to put on by myself. Cutting, slicing, ripping, hobbits, and it's out! Well, I am done filming. I do not have much space left on the camera, and my legs really hurt. I have a newfound respect for all of the stunt doubles and creature performer actors. My god. I'm gonna call this the Gollum workout. My god, this was a good idea. I'm convincing myself this was a good idea. So that was fun. I hope you've enjoyed this slightly strange episode of Monday Madness, where I bring you this costume, have a little bit of a closer look at the mossy bits and the cool bits of shading. This was done with boot polish, by the way, because I ran out of actual paint. So, and there's the back as well. The paint's starting to come off. You can see the back bit. There you go. So, I've had a marvellous time filming. My hair has come out of all the gel and everything now. What are you guys up to this week? Let me know in the comments below. Tell me what you guys are doing. If you'd like to support me in my crazy chaos, then you can join me over on my Ko-fi, where you can go into my shop. Eventually it'll move to Etsy as well. I'm just being slow about it. And you can also support me there. You can go in the shop, you can get commissions and things like that. You can get commissions of personalized character messages where I talk to you, or you can get a bleach paint t-shirt. I'll put some of those up on the screen right now. You can also go on my Patreon, where you get pictures of the dog. You get to see what I'm doing a little bit early behind the scenes. I'll be posting some of the Gollum photos on my Patreon to delight them, of course. So if you want to support me in any of those ways, go onto my Ko-fi or my Patreon. If you cannot do that, then just chuck a like on this video, show that you enjoyed the content. If you did not enjoy the content, just throw a like anyway. Just do it, it's one click, you'll be fine. If you're not subscribed to this channel, subscribe to it, I guess, and follow all my social media, particularly my TikTok and my Instagram. I have 2 TikToks. I have the Peter Pan Facts TikTok, and I have the Maukus Noise cosplay account, and then I've just got my general Instagram for Maukus Noise, and I do have Twitter as well, but I always forget that I've got it. At some point in the very near future, I'm going to be doing a video which is based on the American Horror Story intros, and I'm going to be getting you guys to throw me suggestions for what sort of theme this American Horror Story style intro should have. So look out for that one. I'll be throwing it on my Patreon first, and then I'll be chucking it on my Ko-fi and my Instagram stories and everything like that. So look out for that one if you would like to be involved in sowing the seeds of utmost chaos. It's very weird seeing myself as Gollum and talking like this, like a normal person. It's very weird. I cannot do a good Gollum impression. I'm not going to be doing the "my precious." Yeah, I'm not. Can't be doing that. Well, I'm going to go and take all of this off and have a very long bath. Enjoy the rest of your week, my wonderful jelly spoons. Goodbye. I'm so fluffy. So fluffy.
Sit by the fire, lights glow. Tell us an old tale we know. Take the precious. Not going to listen? No! Master's my friend. Master is nice. Master's kind, now and for always. But he is a Baggins. A Baggins stole it from us. We hate Bagginses! No! Not this one! Yes! All Bagginses must have precious. We deserve it. Take it back. Be Lord Smeagol. Be the best. He speaks nice to me. No one else does. Take the precious. Pass the test. We'll change. Stay with the hobbits. Kill them. It's the only way. I don't need the precious. Leave it behind. Kill them. Not going to take it. Not having you do it. No one delay. Sit by the fire. Lights glow. Tell us an old tale we know. Tell of adventures strange and rare. Never to change, never to share.